My next patron question is from Joey, who wanted me to compare two interesting new movies starring some Hanna-Barbera favorites. I know you might be upset at me for asking this, but which of these two movies do you think is better? The Flintstones and WWE Stone Age SmackDown, or the Jetsons and WWE Robo WrestleMania? They're both the first animated productions for both the Flintstones and the Jetsons in a long time, as well as being the first productions for both franchises to not have the involvement of Bill Hanna and Joe Barbera, and obviously both feature WWE wrestlers. Regardless of how you and I feel about both movies, I'm at least happy that Warner Brothers is doing more movies and shows based on other Hanna-Barbera properties. For many years, they only made movies and shows based on Scooby-Doo. Now they're making more use of other Hanna-Barbera shows. Do you feel the same way as I do? First of all, I'm not entirely sure why this would upset me. I like both the Flintstones and the Jetsons, and I'm happy to see these characters being used again. I watched both of those movies, and I definitely have to go with the Flintstones and WWE. The makers of this movie really made it feel like an episode of the original show. A number of episodes of the Flintstones often dealt with Fred planning some sort of scheme with Barney by his side, in which he would attempt to hide from Wilma. Along the way, we had rock puns and clever takes on modern appliances. We get that here, along with the wrestlers, who actually don't try to overshadow the Flintstones and Rubbles. The series also had guest appearances, and this is in keeping with that tradition, although I feel that could have been a more clever name than John Cena Stone. There are some funny sight gags here, my favorite being Fred's garage door opener. The voices are pretty similar to the originals, although some may be surprised to hear Barney, who sounds like he did in the earlier episodes. So Kevin Michael Richardson went old school Barney with his impression. John O'Hurley is an interesting choice for Mr. Slade, though. At only 51 minutes, the Flintstones in WWE also doesn't outstay its welcome. Unfortunately, the Jetsons in WWE did not do much for me. You can tell the filmmakers really wanted to capture that Jetsons feel with a depiction of the future and even recreating the classic opening intro. However, I did feel the wrestling aspect overwhelmed a lot of it. I did not find myself laughing all that much, although I did enjoy one gag when the Jetsons travel back in time to the early 21st century and find out they have to walk the rest of the way. Otherwise, the movie felt catered more towards WWE fans than fans of the Jetsons. There is one portion, for instance, that feels like a commercial for the WWE. The movie also expects us to already have familiarity with these wrestlers. Big Show is made the villain of the movie because I guess that's his persona in the ring. And then there's a wrestler named Sheamus, who I assume is the most popular one among fans because he is made the designated hero. I don't know who most of these people are, except for Vince McMahon, the head of WWE, and that's only because he also showed up in the Flintstones WWE and Surf's Up too. Once we get to the third act, which ascends into one big brawl among the wrestlers, I started to check out. I think there is a balance that could have been done between the wrestling elements and the Jetsons setting and characters, but this did not fulfill that for me. That aside, I do appreciate Warner Brothers trying to use the Jetsons again in something, as well as the Flintstones. Although not the lack of trying, there have been movies and television shows put into development that just never came to fruition. Robert Zemeckis was even going to produce a live-action Jetsons television series for ABC a few years ago, but we haven't heard any updates since the project was announced. The good news is that if the upcoming Scooby-Doo movie is a success, WB plans to produce animated films featuring more Hanna-Barbera characters, like the Flintstones, Jetsons, Yogi Bear, Huckleberry Hound, and others. So I'm really rooting Scoob does well, because these are characters who deserve to be part of the pop culture conversation again. Now let me know in the comments whether you liked the Flintstones WWE or the Jetsons WWE more, and thank you for your question, Joey.